Hi, welcome back to 3-1 Connection. I'm here with Merrick Lincoln talking about physical therapist and an SPSU professor. So Merrick, welcome to 3-1 Connection.
Thanks for having me, Luke.
You're welcome. So how did you get involved with physical therapy and teaching at Signal Valley?
Well, before we get started, Luke, I just want to acknowledge you're coming off an awesome performance in Portugal at the World Championship. That's amazing. Nice work. 3 personal bests. That was awesome to watch you. All right, sorry about that. Back to it. So teaching and physical therapy. So at its core, physical therapy is a teaching profession. So whether it's educating an individual about their injury or teaching a simple exercise or a very complex exercise, a physical therapist is a teacher. And physical therapists also see the connection between what they do in the clinic and what's done in academics, namely research. So teaching at SVSU has given me the opportunity to get involved with research, but also help to teach kind of the next generation of physical therapists. A lot of my students end up going to physical therapy school, athletic training, strength and conditioning coaches, similar professions.
Wow. Wasn't it fun?
Oh, it's a blast. Yeah. I love what I do.
How long have you been teaching?
Let's see. I've been teaching in some capacity at SVSU for 6 years.
Wow.
And I've been full-time at SVSU for 4. Throughout, I've maintained a presence in the clinic as well.
That's a long time.
That's a long time, yeah.
What are your research interests or current projects?
Oh, glad you asked. So currently we have a big training study. So we're bringing individuals to campus to exercise with us. And this particular study is on a device called the Sand Dune Stepper. It's a thick piece of foam intended to simulate running in sand. So we're kind of fortunate here in Michigan. We're not too far from Great Lakes. So if we want to go run in sand, we can. In Michigan, Midland's kind of a transitional area. It seems like part of it's clay, part of it's sand. But not everyone has access to sand. And we know that when you run in sand, when you exercise in sand, your muscles and tendons behave differently. So there's this foam device we're having everyone come and exercise on for 8 weeks. We've recruited runners, and this study's ongoing, but the preliminary data we have is pretty encouraging. Ultimately, we want to see if this affects rates of injury and also some indicators of performance and injury risk, like dynamic balance, power, and strength.
Wow. What was the most scariest part happen in therapy?
In therapy, scary? Oh, fortunately not much scary happens in therapy, Luke. It's more fun than anything. You get to see, the beauty of physical therapy is you get to see folks get better every day.
How does strength training and physical therapy work to help people?
So I see these two things as very complementary. A lot of the interventions we use in physical therapy revolve around resistance training. So ultimately, the body adapts to the stresses we put upon it. Okay. And one of the ways we can apply stress to the body in a measurable way is through using weights or resistance. So it's a very common intervention to use resistance training in physical therapy to help folks overcome injuries and get better. And the same principles apply whether you're training an athlete or you're training with someone who has suffered an injury and just trying to get back to their day-to-day life.
Wow. How can strength training help with mental health?
That's a really good question, Luke. So there is certainly a link between exercise and mental health. And this certainly isn't my area of expertise, but it seems to me that sometimes we just need a win. Sometimes we just need something to go well for us, and it kind of sets into motion a lot of other events and a lot of other wins. And resistance training is nice because everything's measured and incremental. So like your swimming performance, for example.
Yes.
When you perform well and get a PR, a personal best, a personal record, that feels really good, doesn't it?
Yes.
And you feel better about not just that activity, but everything else in life you might feel better about for a little while. And I see strength training as a window to building self-efficacy, to building these positive beliefs in our ability to succeed in a given situation.
Yes. How can people learn more about physical therapy and strength training from you?
Thanks for asking, Luke. So I write quite a bit for popular fitness websites. So just in the past couple of years, I've published about 40 articles. I post all those articles to my social media pages, and also things I find interesting, things that I think are going to make my students laugh. So you can check that out, or you can come and see me at Active Orthopedics Physical Therapy. You might be interested to know that you do not require a physician's prescription to come and see a physical therapist.
Okay.
So you can see me in person or find me online.
So how can we find you on media?
Let's see, I keep a Facebook page and an Instagram account. And I write for Breaking Muscle has been the website I've been writing for most often.
Thank you for joining the Dual Connection, Merrick.
Thanks for having me, Luke.
Yeah. This is Mary Lincoln, and my name is Luke Drumright. Thank you for joining the Dual Connection. Hi, welcome back to 3 to 1 Connection. This time, you're here with Miriam Andrus, and she is the director of the library. So, how did you get involved with the library?
So I've actually always been involved with libraries. My dad was a library board president when I was a little kid, and my family actually cleaned our local public library. And so I've been working at libraries since I was probably about 10 years old.
Wow.
And I just really liked libraries. After I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I decided to continue my education and get a K through 12 library certificate, which would allow me to be a librarian in the elementary schools. And after I got that certificate, I was actually working in a public library at the time, and I decided that instead of being a school librarian, I actually wanted to be a public librarian.
Wow.
So I got my master's degree in library science, and I continued working in public libraries.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Did you always want to be a director?
I didn't always want to be a director. I actually have a bachelor's degree in fine art. And so I thought that I would work in special archives. What I really wanted to do was I wanted to work with historical documents and use Photoshop and other digital means to help restore those documents and then make them accessible. But it just didn't work out that way. There's not a lot of public libraries that have special collections, at least to that level. Usually that's a university library. So that's what I first wanted to do, but when I started working at a public library, I just really liked it so much. I liked working with the people, I liked doing programming, I liked the sense of community, so I decided that this is actually where I wanted to stay.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many years has the library been open?
So the Grace A. Dow Memorial Library actually started as a literary club, essentially, in 1899.
Wow.
So over 100 years ago. But it's been a actual city library since 1915. So still over 100 years, but not quite as long. But we've been in a public library that was part of the city since 1915, but we've been in our current location, in our current building since 1955.
Wow.
Yeah, so quite a while.
That's a long time ago.
It is, yeah.
Was it scary when the flood came to the library?
So it actually wasn't too scary when the flood came to the library. Did I like it? No, I did not like the water coming into the building. But I've actually been able to see videos of how this building was constructed at the Alden B. Dow Home and Studio. They have a historical video of the men that were putting this building together actually heating up rivets and tossing them to construction workers and putting them into the steel framing of this building. So I know how strong this building is. It's got steel framework. It has concrete floors that are, several feet thick. And so at no point when we were flooding did I think the building could collapse. I was very worried about our mechanical systems that got flooded, and I didn't want any of the books to get wet. And there wasn't a lot we could do to keep the water out. But I was just so focused on making sure that the books didn't get wet and we were able to save as much furniture as possible and as much stuff in the building that I didn't really have time to be scared. I was just working so hard to make sure that we were able to save as much as we possibly could.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a crazy, crazy day.
Yeah.
and it's been quite a journey since.
What did you do to fix the library?
So we had to do a lot of stuff to fix the library. So first, after we flooded, we had to move everything out of the way. So all of the books off of the floor, furniture, all of that kind of stuff, so that it didn't get water damaged. And then the things that did get water damaged, we ended up pulling up all of the carpet. We removed trim. We removed drywall because we didn't want anything to get moldy. And once that was done, we were able to dry out the building, and then construction had to happen. So we hired some contractors, and they came and fixed our mechanical systems, and they fixed all of the things that you see when you come into the building. For example, the carpet, the walls, painting, that kind of stuff. And then once we had all of the construction work done and all of the mechanical work done, then we had to purchase some of the furniture that was damaged, and like craft supplies and children's toys and things like that had got damaged from the flood. We had to go through and make sure that we had all of those things repurchased. So we did a lot of things, from getting rid of the water, drying it out, to replacing all of the things that got damaged. And then, of course, moving everything back down here to the lower level and opening it back up for the public to enjoy.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long does the community help support the library?
So the community has been an enormous support for the library. When we flooded, we actually had community members show up. It was already evening. It was probably about 6 o'clock. And we had community members come and help us start moving books from the lower level to the first floor. And not only did they help us carry up books, they helped move all of our maintenance offices, all of our youth services offices. And then when it got really late at night, we realized that we had all of the copies of the Midland Daily newspaper that were back in our storage area, and they were exposed to water and humidity, and so we had to get them out. And the community actually helped us form a human chain, and we moved thousands of newspapers, handing them from person to person, going all the way up the stairs, all the way down the auditorium walkway into the coat closet of the first floor, which we never would have been able to do without the community. And since the flood, the community has been fantastic. They've been very understanding. They've been able to change with us as we've gone from having the building closed to opening the building back up and doing curbside service and everything in between. They've been fantastic. We absolutely love the community.
Oh, thank you, Miriam, for joining CityOne Connection.
Yeah, thank you.
So this is Miriam, Andreas, and my name is Luke Drumright. We will go down to see Kevin LeDuc at the Santa House to interview Kevin LeDuc. Thank you for CityOne Connection. Hi, welcome to 321 Connection. I'm here with Kevin LeDuc talking about the Santa House. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Luke. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on 321 Connection.
I am too.
Awesome.
So how did you get involved with the Santa House?
Well, I work at the Midland Area Community Foundation. I serve as communications officer. The Midland Area Santa House is one of our projects.
Okay.
So it is something that we support in the community. And I serve as a staff liaison to help kind of organize the volunteer-led Santa House and assist with pulling everything together. I am just one of many that sit on the committee that make this happen every single year.
Wow. How many years has the Santa House been open?
Well, our involvement with the Santa House began in 1987, but really the tradition can date all the way back to the early 1900s. Ever since the 1930s, each year the courthouse has been lit up for a nice holiday display. And they'd have a temporary Santa House here, but that really fell into disrepair in the 1980s. And then a few local donors with a lot of passion for providing some long-term transformation to Midland decided they wanted a way more permanent structure that would be able to serve the community and serve family for years to come. So the Santa House, as you know it, in its current form, was really erected in 1987.
Wow. Do volunteers help for the Santa House?
Yeah, we are basically completely volunteer-led. Being a nonprofit Santa House, the operations every day take a lot of work. There's a lot of families that come visit each year, a lot of children that want to come see Santa. So we ask community members to serve as elves, where they assist Santa with making sure that his visits go smoothly and moving lines along. And then we also have the Northern Star train, which runs outside of the Santa House during the Santa season. And we're always looking for train conductors and folks to assist with rides on the train and making sure that holiday spirit comes to life.
Wow. So how many years has the Santa Parade been?
Well, we actually don't have any relationship with the Santa Parade. We're something completely separate.
Okay.
But we've been here at this location a little bit over 30 years. So that tradition continues to live on, and we're hoping that this structure can provide holiday happiness for years to come.
Wow. What else do you want people to know about the Santa House for downtown Midland?
We just want people to be able to come out and experience a barrier-free experience with Santa Claus. Everything here at the Santa House is absolutely free. You don't have to pay a photographer. You don't need to pay for the visits. You don't need to pay for a ride on the Northern Star train. And this is really due to the generosity of donors to the Midland Area Community Foundation that permits such an incredible place like this to exist, where anybody can really come and share a visit with Santa Claus at no cost.
Wow. Where can you find out more about the Santa House?
If you're looking to learn anything else about the Santa House, I ask you to go to midlandfoundation.org/Santa House. You're going to find all your information there. That's where you can sign up for volunteer shifts. That's where you can see the entire Santa House schedule. Santa will be coming over the Tridge this year on November 29th and heading to downtown, and the Santa House will be open every day after that, all the way until December 23rd, because on December 24th, the big guy has to get ready for the next day, because the 25th, as we all know, on Christmas, Santa's got a lot of work to do. But you have between November 29th and December 23rd to come on down to the Midland area Santa House, and we look forward to seeing you.
Well, thank you for joining, Kevin and Luke.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Luke, and we're looking forward to seeing a lot more episodes of 321 Connection.
Yeah, thank you for joining 321 Connection, as what Kevin Leduc said. It's Kevin Leduc, Luke Drumright, 321 Connection, signing off.